Whoa, it's going so good.
I'm
Best
not doing the
podcast ever?
accent.
I think it is.
This movie is absolutely incredible, Will and Harper. Your friendship has been a very long-lasting one, hasn't it? It's been going on for 30 years. Well, this movie is all about friendship. That's what the core of it's about, but it's also about allyship. What has Will and Harper really taught you about the power of allyship and what it really means?
You know, it's easy to say I support you in an email, but to really step out there and walk the walk is a whole nother kind of thing. So I guess the power of that is actually showing up. We got to take this incredible kind of 17 days out on the road exploring America, and while we had a lot of laughs and had great conversations and did our usual kind of banter back and forth, we did walk into situations that were going to be challenging, and I kind of experienced growth through learning to kind of speak up on behalf of my friend when it was needed. You know, I guess I just really learned that it doesn't have to be a big deal, but it is just important to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be a vocal ally.
Yeah.
I feel like in our society, we're saying all the time, where are the male allies?
Yeah.
We talk about this a lot on this podcast, whether it's to the LGBTQI plus community, whether it's to women. We actually don't have many vocal male allies in our society, and especially celebrities too. So it's very refreshing to actually see that.
Yeah. I think because this friendship means so much to me, it wasn't even a choice as it was just, it felt like the natural thing to do.
And Harper, how amazing has it been to find an ally in Will at this time in your life?
I will say that I wish every trans person had Will Ferrell. They won't get Will Ferrell. That would take up a lot of time. I just one of the things that's been really powerful is, Will is beloved by so many different kinds of people, and for me as a trans femme, as a trans woman, I find that bro culture is a little tough on trans women, and Will navigates that world so easily. That's his world. And it used to be my world too, So walking into those worlds with an ally that is beloved, it's just very helpful. You don't want to get tied up in thinking that the queer community needs, cis people, straight people to help them, but it really is sweet just to have friends from all kinds of sexualities and genders, reaching out and helping each other through all of it. So I don't know. I mean, but yes, Will is a very special sort of ally that I think, I would wish everyone could experience, but they can't. So, haha.
We could rent you out.
I was going to say.
Oh, you want to do that?
Yeah.
Second career.
Yeah, second career.
Rent an ally.
Stunning. You've got loads of time for all the movies you're doing.
Rent an ally.
Just rent me out.
Stunning.
Yeah.
That's a new platform. We can launch it today.
Perfect.
It's on. Well, I think it's really interesting you were mentioning about bro-heavy environments. Because even when I was watching this as a queer person, I was thinking I would be very scared to go into some of the environments you put yourself into. And it's very moving when you talk about how you used to move in these spaces very freely, and then all of a sudden you became very aware of your safety.
Yeah.
How strange was that to suddenly have this awakening about your safety for the first time?
I think it's natural for any woman to understand how to navigate unsafe places in this country, the U.S. It did take me a little while because I did sort of forget. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that now. In the documentary, I talk about sort of the moment I was halfway down an alley and I was like, oh wait, I shouldn't be walking down an alley by myself as the sun sets. This is not something that women do. It's certainly not something that trans women, unless they are forced to, do. Yeah, I think I'm re-navigating a lot of the spaces that I had before. But that doesn't mean I'm still not engaged in exploring those places and talking to those people.
When you look back now, because I'm guessing 30 years ago, the entertainment industry was very bro heavy.
You're not kidding, yeah.
Yeah.
When you look back now, was that a very toxic environment for you to have to grow as a person within?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, that's just a given. I think almost any queer person, especially someone who comes out later in life, can look back and sort of look at all the restrictions of those periods and what held them back. And yeah, comedy rooms specifically were built around a kind of toxicity. Again, I don't want to poo-poo all the comedy writers I worked with. But certainly I think comedy changes and cultures change, and so I'm happy to see it move away from that.
And now you get to live your life as your most authentic self.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's such a credible thing for everyone to see, because I think everyone goes on a journey really trying to find who their authentic selves are.
That's not a trans thing. That's a human thing. I think that's something that we all strive for.
Seeing your friend go on that journey to become their authentic self, how empowering has that been for you in finding out who your authentic self is as well, Will?
It's been such a cool thing to see. I mean, especially not really knowing how much kind of pain and discomfort, Harper was experiencing as her dead self. And, she played the part really well. And so to get to see this new chapter that my friend is kind of getting to experience, and the joy she has, and and even the experience of doing this, just kind of the attention she has gotten, which part of it she doesn't necessarily like, but I like it. I like that she has to deal with it. But it is an incredible thing, and what was empowering for me to find out was, it's one thing to receive this email that says, hey, after all these years, guess what? I'm transitioning. But to really kind of peek behind the curtain and see, oh, that took months and years and hours upon hours to sit down and write that. And the consternation of and finally having the courage to break through and just saying, no, this is who I am, this is who I'm always have been, and I'm going to take control of my life and do this. That's been incredible. Yeah.
And this is really testament to the power of joy.
Yeah.
Finding joy in your life.
Yeah.
And we don't talk enough about queer joy.
Right.
Because there are so many problems we have in our community.
Yeah.
But actually there's so much joy to be found and so much love to be found as well. Because in the documentary, there's a thing that really sticks in my mind where you say that every trans person is very worried about whether they're going to come out and still be loved.
Yeah.
What moment of love did you experience after coming out that you've really kept with you, that really still fuels you as well?
Well, my children and my sister. I mean, that's the most powerful that could occur. Obviously, people like Will, close friends, that was very quickly followed. But my sister called me immediately and said, I always wanted a sister. And it was such a sweet, quick response that I think that just affected me viscerally. And joyful.
And because there's so many powerful scenes in this, and there's also some really great scenes where, you're in a Walmart car park having a picnic of Pringles. I mean, the stuff that dreams are truly made of.
Yeah.
We love a Pringle, especially at this time of year.
Yeah.
But there's one scene where when you go back home and you're in your sister's home and you go through old pictures of yourself and you see yourself as a child.
Yeah.
How proud do you think that child would be of the person you are sitting here
It's
today?
a therapeutic question. I'm going to start crying. That's, I mean, that's unthinkably beautiful. And, it's a combination of regret and joy in that moment, because I'm looking at those photos and going, what could have happened? I'll say it. I'll be controversial. Puberty blockers at 14. I just, I've given a great gift to that child. So that's really what this is about. And it took a long time. Sorry, little kid. But no, I think we got where we needed to get.
I think you should be so proud of you.
Oh no, I think, that little kid, that little girl riding a unicycle. What a nerd. She should be proud.
Yeah.
She made it.
Yeah. And now we really have to start campaigning for our queer youth, because sadly in our society now, America's re-voted Trump back in. Yeah. And there's part of the documentary you say, Harper, I love this country. I don't know if this country loves me back. It's a very alarming situation to be in for the transgender community right now. We're not sure if Donald Trump is actually going to roll back, is going to keep to his promise of rolling back gender-affirming healthcare. And one of the facts around his campaign, which is so wild to me, is he spent $215 million on anti-trans ad during the election cycle. As a trans person in our society, how fearful do you feel of the world that we are becoming at this stage?
Yeah, I don't think I would lay the blame at Donald Trump's feet. I think there's lots of groups in my country that have been anti-trans for a long time. People have been against trans people. I don't think this is entirely new. There were 500 so trans pieces of legislation during the Biden administration. Yeah. So again, this has been a concerted effort for a while to sort of the money spent on those campaigns, if you know the history of campaigning in the U.S., a lot of ads are built around fear and people's fear. And so I think, until people sort of lose that fear of trans people, why they would have it, I don't know. But when that starts to fade, those commercials, that sort of thing won't. I mean, to some extent, I think every person in America has within their sphere someone who's queer at this point, a family member, and I think gay marriage is not a given or a certain, but it's sort of entrenched now in our culture. I'm hoping that, I think it's sad that we're not there yet. The idea that trans people should cause anyone any fear is pathetic, but yeah, I'm a little concerned about that, but also I know that battle has been going for a long time, and we're still here for the fight.
Because there is a moment in the documentary where you talk about taking your pills for the first time and how much of an amazing experience that was for you.
Yeah.
So when we're hearing that transgender healthcare might be being rolled back, that's such a horrible thing to rob of a trans person.
It's life-threatening, period.
Well, hopefully people can watch this documentary and see how much joy there is to be found in being trans.
I think that's the message here, is that if you are worried about your trans child or your neighbor's trans child, why you would worry about that, I don't know. But if you're worried about that, you should know that there's nothing to worry about. In fact, there's something to celebrate there. Being trans is a superpower, and we need to get that message out there a little more than I think we have.
And that circles back to having allies, right?
Yes, right.
And I think, too, there's hope in that. I watch how my own kids, who were ages 20, 17, and 14, process, and I'm not saying they are indicative of all of the youth in America, but it's just not an issue for them. It's like it's accepted at their school. It's like, oh yeah, this person's trans. Oh, okay, great. And next subject. And I think there's hope there. That it's just why would I care? That's just who they are. And it's not a debate.
Yeah.
And so let's put hope in kind of this younger generation who hopefully is just already locked into being more accepting.
Yeah. That's what we want to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we should all be celebrating everyone trying to be their authentic selves.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. Why would you want to get in the way of joy?
Because there is also one part of the documentary which I love so much as well, where you'll both go swimming and you're in the jacuzzi, the hot tub. And I thought this was really powerful because there's so many universal themes in the film. But one of them is body image.
Yeah.
And every single person, no matter how you identify, has body image concerns. Yeah. And it was actually so refreshing to hear a man talking about body image too. Did it make you really reflect on your own experience with your body image in a way?
Well, it is funny because that was not the intent. We were go swim in the pool at the motel we were staying in only because that was thematic to one of the things going on a road trip. You always it was a big highlight. You'd stay in a hotel with a pool and you'd go swim, and Harper was wearing her bathing suit, and so it's so funny that it segued into a question about. But as I was just sitting there, I was like, yeah, we started going down that road of gosh, I've done a lot of things in films where I've been very uninhibited about showing my body because part of it is I could use it for comedic effect, sadly.
Not sadly.
But anyway, but also too, I was like, what's the big deal? Like, this is who I am, and let's accept it and everything. So, and then we just started talking about it in the jacuzzi. I don't know, it's just funny that...
I mean, for your listeners who haven't seen the film yet, I think you should know this is the closest it gets to pornography. This is the sexiest scene you will see in a movie. It makes the tennis movie that the kids did.
Challengers.
Yes, it makes Challengers look like a Disney movie.
Yes, it really
it's
does.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
So be prepared for this.
I mean, Will, you are the kind of face of Christmas by this point.
Right.
As Alf.
Sure.
And this is a very challenging time for queer people. Some queer people, they find the holidays very difficult. Is there a message you'd want to share with the queer people who feel fearful or less hopeful or scared or isolated or lonely at this time?
Yeah, I obviously, as best to your ability to just find your community out there, and which that's probably very simplistic to say in a way, but because that's easier said than done. But yeah, to just try to build that and combat that loneliness is the best advice I could possibly give them. Yeah.
And find someone to confide in.
Yeah.